Listen at 610 AM, 102 FM.
I listen, therefore I know.
Online at kvnutalk.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
I listen on the app.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Mount Logan Laundry. Tuesday evening, during Direct Link with Utah Governor Spencer Cox, a caller asked if the governor would consider legislation that would push back on any federal move that would involve changes in the right to bear arms.
So the answer is yes. And let me just share a little bit more about this. So I signed the constitutional carry bill, something that I know a lot of people have been working on for a long time. And I've said this before, but I believe that Utah isn't just a Second Amendment sanctuary state, but we're a constitutional sanctuary state. And I meet at least once a month with Attorney General Sean Reyes, and we go over everything that is happening with the federal government to push back on things that we believe are unconstitutional.
Cox said the way they do this is to file lawsuits and then let the courts determine whose interpretation of the Constitution is correct, the states or the federal government. Cox his second Direct Link is a bi-monthly statewide broadcast facilitated through the Utah Broadcasters Association. This month's broadcast was hosted by KVNU and moderated by Jason Williams of For the People. KVNU News Time is 5:06. KVNU weather for tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight low in the lower 50s. South winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Kind of windy tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy and cooler by about 15 degrees tomorrow, around 70 with a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon. And winds out of the southwest increasing to 15 to 25 miles per hour. Mostly clear, much colder Thursday night, Friday morning, mid-30s for the low. After 85, it's 82 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by the Duck Hunter. With your air conditioner working hard this summer, now's a perfect time to call the Duck Hunter at 770-4813 to get your ducks free of dust.
Make laundry a snap with the large load washers and dryers at Mount Logan Laundry. Rather than 8 to 10 loads at home, get the job done in 1 or 2 with their 55 or 80-pound washers and 80-pound dryers that are perfect for sleeping bags, comforters, and other big items. Mount Logan Laundry has free Wi-Fi and drop-off service, plus they're open until midnight. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town. Find them at 5th East and 9th North in Logan or in Brigham City on the corner of 1st East and 7th South.
KVNU News Time is 5:07. The Bear Lake Valley business community is excited to celebrate the grand opening of Garden City's largest business complex tomorrow morning at 11 with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. The first ribbon cutting will be at the Market, a grocery and Ace Hardware store located at 485 North Bear Lake Boulevard. The 40,000-square-foot business development includes the first full-service Zions Bank branch, Mike's Market, Chevron Fuel Station, a Beans and Brews coffee shop, and an Ace Hardware store. Mike's Market is a 22,000 square feet location with an assortment of groceries, self-checkout, a deli, bakery, in-store dining, and a gift shop. And on Sunday, search and rescue efforts that closed down portions of Zion National Park led to the discovery of a 26-year-old climber's body. KUTV reports police with the Washington County Sheriff's Office identified the victim as Cassidy Brown of Springdale, Utah. Police said Brown's death is still under investigation, but there is no evidence to suggest her cause of death was anything other than a tragic recreational accident. Brown's body was found in the part of the Narrows known as Mystery Canyon. It is believed she fell 50 to 80 feet and sustained injuries consistent with a high fall. Flight crews located Brown but were unable to take her out of the canyon due to the steep and narrow canyon walls. KVNU News Time is 5:09. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Keeping you informed 24/7. News Talk KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
It's a perfect summer. Call Beaver Creek Lodge and rent a side-by-side or schedule a horseback ride and see beautiful Logan Canyon like you've never seen it before. Take a horse ride into Swan Peak, Horse Lake, or Steam Mill Canyon. Popular side-by-side rides can take you to the Paris Ice Caves, Temple Peak, or Ephraim's Grave, even into St. Charles for lunch or maybe a raspberry shake. See Logan Canyon by horseback or on a side-by-side rental from Beaver Creek Lodge. Call right now and get it scheduled. Go to beavercreeklodge.com. Beaver Creek Lodge. Small lodge, big adventure.
I'm Dr. Red in Cache Valley. Some of my patients here have questions about the COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccines were developed quickly and safely because they cut red tape, not corners. The vaccines are extremely effective and will protect you and your loved ones. More than 1 million Utahns have been vaccinated, and I encourage you to get the vaccine too. Talk to your doctor if you have any questions.
Pristine wilderness can still be found in the West, where creeks run freely and historic apple trees still bear fruit. Maple Creek Ranch features breathtaking canyon views and opportunities for real estate development. 2.5-acre lots are now available with adjacent wilderness areas that provide endless riding and recreational possibilities. So find your piece of paradise just 35 minutes from Logan at Maple Creek Ranch. Schedule your appointment online at maplecreekranch.net.
Hey, it's Al Lewis. Happy spring. I love this beautiful weather, but if you struggle with CPAP, you may not be getting the sleep you need to go outside and enjoy it. Fortunately, now there's Inspire, a sleep apnea treatment that works inside your body with just the click of a remote. That's right, a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Learn more at InspireSleep.com. Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you. And review important safety information at InspireSleep.com.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Hour 2 of our I cannot talk today. Hour 2 of today's show. It is Wednesday, June 9th. I'm Jason Williams. Bill Walter here in the studio as well. Thank you for tuning in today. We're kicking off Hour 2 with a listener-suggested topic and a special guest to help us cover that topic. A listener emailed a very interesting article from utah.gov. In the Commerce Division there at the utah.gov, a subdivision of the Governor's Office of Economic Development, they highlight a business every month, a business from Utah doing something unique, creating jobs, keeping people employed. And this month, they highlighted a company in Brigham City. The company's name is Storm Bowling. And I'll bet you didn't know they were located here in northern Utah. And they're joining us right now to talk about a couple of different things, what they do, why they're getting this recognition, and even some international recognition. And, of course, from this listener's suggestion, we're also going to talk about, as far as what they do, how a bowling ball is made. So I'm really excited about this, being joined right now by Chayton Petersen, who is a technical customer service representative at Storm Bowling in northern Utah, Brigham City specifically. And Chayton, I appreciate you taking some time for us today. It is probably nice to get some recognition from the state, but I've noticed that recognition is something you guys are pretty used to there at Storm Bowling.
Yeah, we are. We have been around since the mid-'80s. We're the world's largest manufacturer of bowling balls and one of the state's largest exporter of goods, period. So we've been doing pretty well in the bowling industry for quite some time now.
That is very cool. And again, for many of our listeners, it might be a surprise to find out that you're located right there in Brigham City. Kind of a low-key on the local end, but not low-key on the international and national stages.
No, not at all.
Tell us a bit about the company. Why Brigham City, and how did things get started there at Storm Bowling?
Sure, yeah. So Storm started back in 1985. Bill Chrisman, he's from the northern Utah area in Ogden, and he started making bowling ball cleaner for balls. That's how the company started as high-score products. In 91, he decided that he can make a bowling ball, so that's when we started pouring our own bowling balls. Interesting fact, we actually started mixing it, because bowling balls start out as a liquid. They're a Part A and a Part B polyurethane. They get mixed together. Now we have big tanks that mix these together, but back in the day in '91, we used KFC buckets to mix our very first bowling balls.
Wow.
Poured them into molds.
That is very cool. This is, I know that, in this industry there are some trade secrets that can't be revealed, some special mixes and things like that. But it seems to me, looking through, if a listener out there were to do this themselves, if you just Google Storm Bowling, you'll find no shortage of articles referencing some uniqueness to the product you guys make. What is it, again, without revealing any of those corporate secrets, what is it that makes a Storm bowling ball unique?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So all bowling balls are a mixture of a polyurethane, so you're thinking kind of like almost like what a boat would be made out of, like fiberglass, epoxy that goes over fiberglass, the liquid that turns hard and ends up just being like a hard plastic. Now, what makes Storm bowling balls unique is some of the additives that we put in this polyurethane to make it hook down lane. The density of material inside the middle of the ball, it's in unique shapes to make the ball hook down lane even more, which is a whole lot of physics that's way over the top of my head. I only grasp the surface of it. So just know that there is an object in the middle of the ball, and you can see these on our website. The shapes of them, they're made of a denser material than the outside of the ball, and with the gravity of the earth, they make the ball turn more than your normal house ball will. Probably the most interesting thing about Storm balls that separate us from the rest of the bowling ball world is our balls are the only ones with fragrances in them. So we have anything from cherry to orange, vanilla, maple syrup. So if you come into the plant, we do offer tours. We'd love to show you all this stuff. First thing you're going to notice when you walk in is how it smells inside of our office.
That's very cool. This is... it's obvious as well, looking through, again, a Google search of news stories, but some of the information at the website as well, stormbowling.com, for listeners who'd like to check that out. The Storm Bowling, the balls themselves seem to be very popular with professional the competitors, with tournament athletes and more. But it also appears that Storm Bowling has a focus on fostering youth in this sport, with supporting competitions, with sponsoring different leagues and things like that, and building things up. That's a very unique thing, because this is a very vibrant community out there, right?
Yeah. No, that's our number one goal, like in our mission statement, is to grow the sport. The sport does better, we do better. So we cater to everybody from the very best elite athletes in the bowling world, Jason Belmonte being one of them. He's probably the most famous and won the most major titles, down to the youth that are going to be the future of the sport. We host several high-level youth tournaments. We make balls for the new bowler, the entry-level bowler. So, yeah, we've got a wide range of interests to help grow the sport as best as we can.
This is bowling for most of us is something that we go out and do once in a while. We never do it enough to get good at. But if you've ever seen video of some of these professional bowlers, it's an art. It's amazing. And I'm really enjoying this, Chayton. There's actually a hashtag. I'm seeing this used on Instagram, Twitter, even a YouTube video or two. And the hashtag is Storm Nation Turbo Grips. Two different hashtags. Sorry, there's Storm Nation one, Turbo Grips the other. Tell us about that if you can. This is getting a lot of attention here.
Yeah. So the hashtag Storm Nation, you see that in all of our marketing. That's what we look at. If you post something on social media and you want to get our attention, hashtag Storm Nation is the way to do it. It's really our fan base. We've created this really great fan base that supports our youth and our movements that we try to grow the sport with. Hashtag Turbo Grips is a separate company. Turbo Grips make inserts that go for your fingers in bowling balls, fingers and thumb. But the hashtag Storm Nation, if you see any of our professional athletes post something, it always starts with the hashtag Storm Nation, so we can let all of our Storm fans know what we've got going.
And this is a field where, I assume you always have to stay competitive, coming up with new things. What's the average R&D brainstorming meeting like there at Storm Bowling?
Oh man, that's probably one of the more interesting portions to our day, when we get to discuss the new technology that we've got cooking up down in our labs. That's kind of where our trade secrets start, but there's a lot of 3D CAD work that goes into designing the weight blocks that go inside the balls. That's probably where the most physics takes place, is how an object rotates in space. So we have engineers here that design these objects, how they get affected by drilling holes in the balls, and then how they behave when you apply rotational torque to them, and as they go down the lane and slow down to the friction on the lane and the gravity that we live with every day. So really interesting stuff, a ton of physics that goes into making a weight block inside the bowling ball. And like, we've got these 3D images of the current weight blocks that we use in our balls on our website. You can rotate them so you can see all the different sides. It's really interesting to see how each one of those unique shapes and unique densities makes the ball do different things down lane.
I'm looking at one of those now at the website. And again, for listeners, the Storm Bowling website is stormbowling.com. They're located right here in northern Utah, in Brigham City specifically, and they are getting international recognition for some innovative bowling ball design and production. And one thing that seems to be clear, looking at this 3D rotation, looking at some of the stories, that are told here on the Storm Nation hashtag and more, perfection is not just, every company strives for the best they can do, right? In your field of work, perfection is necessary, right? You can't send one of these out with a flaw.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Any little change, because if there's a little bit of a piece missing off of one of these weight blocks you're seeing, that space gets filled with less dense material, and then that ball will react differently than the same ball with the same weight block, just because there's a little bit of a different material. So we pride ourselves on keeping our quality control as tight as possible so that each ball within its line performs at its peak.
That is amazing stuff, and it sounds fun, too, to go through. And I assume there have been times where some experimentation has happened and an idea has to have been scrapped, but I also assume there are some things coming, technology around, something that sounds so simple to most of us, making a bowling ball. That technology has changed quite a bit. How do you keep up? How do you stay on the cutting edge there at Storm Bowling?
Yeah, here we've got a testing facility. We've got a pair of lanes in our basement. You can check it out on our YouTube channel. All of our professional athletes use them, but we use them too to test them, our new equipment. Our R&D manager, Alex Hoskins, designed some of these weight blocks and uses new formulations in our cover stocks, which is the outside shell of the ball. And then we have a lab that makes samples of these balls, and we go out and test them. And use employees here. We have Hall of Fame bowlers, professional bowlers here, or ex-professionals that are just as good as anybody else that you're going to see on TV, that go downstairs in our testing facility, throw these balls, and see how they perform. And if it's good, we continue on that path, make adjustments that are needed. And if it's not, then we move on to the next idea.
That is very cool. And again, to see recognition coming international. For listeners, again, we mentioned this already, but check out on your platform of choice. Storm Bowling is everywhere. They're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And using the Storm Nation hashtag, you can see what others are saying from all around the world about Storm Nation balls. And Chayton, I mentioned this briefly at the first, but it's worth addressing before we wrap things up here today. But the Storm Nation, the Storm Bowling ball, made right here in Brigham City in northern Utah, is a top choice for the athletes, for people who have money on the line and livelihoods on the line. Any guesses as to why? What makes that the bowling ball of choice?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So yeah, we're the most popular ball on the PBA tour and other professional tours around the world, and simply it's just the motion that we're able to make out of our bowling balls. We're really known for how our balls get through the front part of the lane and snap really hard on the back end, and what that ends up creating is a lot of entry angle into the pins, and ultimately more strikes. So on the professional level, those guys are really good. They don't miss a lot, so they're able to use that little high risk, high reward style of a ball that hooks a little bit later, so they can strike at a higher percentage than the rest of the field.
This is fascinating stuff. And one more time for listeners, you really have to see for yourself some of the physics behind all of this that Chayton has mentioned here. You can see the 3D animations and more at the website, stormbowling.com. One more time, they're located right here in northern Utah, Brigham City. They're getting international recognition. Their balls are top choices for highly competitive athletes with money and livelihood on the line, and it is a choice they're making from right out of northern Utah. And Chayton, one last question for you here. Any plans for tours of the facility?
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm glad you asked. We're happy to give tours. We'll go in depth in all of this stuff. You can see the lanes that all the professional athletes bowl on, and some of what these weight blocks look outside of the ball. If you want to send, you can send me an email directly, tech@stormbowling.com, and we'd be happy to schedule a tour.
Very nice. Listeners, take advantage. Again, this is a business operating right here in northern Utah for many decades now. They make some of the most notable bowling balls in the leagues, but also are out there supporting youth competitions, trying to grow the sport, and they are right here in our own backyard. I love it. Stormbowling.com is their website. One more time. The hashtag on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and more is Storm Nation. You'll see a lot of feedback there, a lot of photos as well, and get to know a product being made right here in northern Utah via Storm Bowling. Stormbowling.com. Our guest again has been Chayton Petersen, technical customer service representative there at Storm Bowling. And Chayton, appreciate you taking some time for KVNU today.
Thank you for giving us your time and letting us show off what we do here.
Oh, our pleasure. For listeners, one more time, check it out, stormbowling.com, or find them on your social media platform of choice looking for the Storm Nation. Hashtag is the easiest way to find them there. And we'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People right after this.
As the summer's war against weeds and pests rages on, a new bug threat starts hopping around, destroying garden plants and flowers. Luckily, you are ready for them with Logan Extermination's Perimeter Grasshopper Control. It's like a minefield for the minute menace.
Good job, men. Another bug bites the dirt. Let's regroup before the next wave hits.
They do what they are trained to do. Strike terror into termites, bash the bed bugs, and cook the cockroaches. Remember the brave men and women at Logan Extermination. Call 752-8450.
Prices start at only $65.
Every Saturday morning at 9, you get information to prepare you with retirement solutions for the journey ahead. It's Smart Money Ascent with Clayton Alexander of Teton Wealth Group.
How do we solve that number one fear or that number one concern? Make sure you never run out of money.
And Teton Wealth Group's Ethan Miller.
Then, when you leave Teton, when you leave our offices, you're going to have a plan that you're both excited about.
It's where your retirement questions are answered. Smart Money Ascent, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Announcing the nationwide release of Witnesses film. Come see, hear, and feel the experiences of Oliver Cowdery, David Whitmer, and Martin Harris. What led them to Joseph Smith and what happened to them after parting ways. Come Follow Me comes alive for your family. See Witnesses, now in theaters. Tickets at witnessesfilm.com.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. I'm Jason Williams. Well, we're on the topic of bowling, because we are. Thanks again to our friends at Storm Bowling. Chayton Petersen, technical customer service representative there at Storm Bowling, talking to us about how they make the balls, why they're getting international recognition, why they choose Brigham City as a location for production and design of these world-renowned and, by the way, top choices of competing athletes in the leagues, the professional leagues, the Storm Bowling ball. Why that's the case. A fun conversation there. If you want to check them out, again, the hashtag where you'll find them on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and more is Storm Nation. And you can visit their website, stormbowling.com, to see some of the 3D animations of design and even watch some videos of how they make these things. Some of them scented, too, as Chayton told us. That's kind of cool. But while we're on the topic, I wanted to send listeners in this direction because I read this actually a long time ago. And it has made me want to go out and try to be a little better at bowling myself. I haven't done that yet. Bowling has always been something that I did with a few family members once in a while when it would come up. I was aware of the aggressive competitions and leagues out there, but never been very good at it myself. I bowl a decent game once a year or something like that, like most of us do, right? And we just do it for fun. But if you ever want to see something that will blow your mind, check out the competitive world of professional bowling and start with this article I've linked to on our Facebook page right alongside the stormnation.com website where you can learn more about this company in Brigham City making internationally recognized bowling balls with an innovative and secret process. Is this article from berkslanes.com is the website. This is a professional bowling website, a news site basically for professional bowling. And they have an article there where they talk about these things you'll see during a professional competition involving blue dye on the lanes. And I've always thought it was just, there for looks or something like that. I've only seen this once in person, and that was actually touring an old bowling alley, in Washington, D.C. one year. But this is apparently something you'll see at almost all professional events, and there is actually a reason for it, and it's an oil pattern. And the goal of this is so they skim the lane with this light, watery oil blue dye. It's removable and washable, I guess you'd say. But when they skim it, they don't actually apply it with a brush or anything. They just kind of skim. And what they're doing is they're building a topographical map of the imperfections in the lane for the bowlers to see. No one watching this televised cares. No one in the audience there probably cares. But the professional bowlers are so good at what they do and are so in control of that 10-pound, 12-pound, 14-pound ball that companies like Storm Bowling in Brigham City make, that the topography of the lane, the imperfections in the wood, no lane is perfectly flat or smooth. And those imperfections actually allow them to use the lane as equipment in a sport, the same way a baseball player uses a bat. They actually use the imperfections in the lane to get a certain result with the bowling ball. They're that good. From this article, a little brief portion of it, we can roll out one shot and have the perfect line, break point, entry point to the pocket, or even carry a strike without even thinking, based on what we see from that blue dye and the topography of the lane. The map means a lot to professional bowlers, though to most people it looks like just color to make things pretty. One player said the very next delivery after one throw, being able to match that with the visual you see of that blue topography of the lane, you only need that one throw. You know exactly where you want to put the ball at each time you throw it to get the result you want. That, to me, is amazing. And it's something I think most people don't realize happens every time these professional bowlers get together to compete. So you can understand why they're willing to spend a decent amount of money on a decent ball. You can understand why when they find a good one, like those made at Storm Bowling in Brigham City, why it gets international recognition, as Storm Bowling is doing the last year, a few months here, and why they're so picky. I mean, there's a lot more to this sport than most people realize. Something that most of us, again, go out and do once a year at most for fun with some family or friends. Professional bowlers are so good with a little blue dye on the lane, they can actually read the topography and know exactly what the ball is going to do when it hits certain points in those imperfections in the lane and get the achieved result. Check it out. I've linked to this article as well on our Facebook page at facebook.com/KVNUFTP. And we'll be back with more after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:33. The news is brought to you by U&I Furniture. The Utah congressional delegation has requested a meeting with President Biden before he makes his final decision on whether the boundaries of two sprawling national monuments in Utah should be restored. The delegation of Utah Republicans sent a letter to Biden on Wednesday in which they also requested that Interior Secretary Deb Haaland's full report be made available to Congress. Haaland made her recommendation about whether to reverse former President Trump's decision to downsize Bears Ears National Monument and Grand Staircase Escalante last week. Details of her decision were not released. Several wildfires are burning in Utah amid hot, dry conditions, and with most of the state mired in extreme drought. The largest blaze is one that started Tuesday in central Utah near Price. That was about 5.4 square miles as of this morning. A fire in northern Utah near East Canyon State Park in Morgan County had grown to about 1.3 square miles and forced the evacuation of two families. It was started Tuesday morning when a track hoe hit a rock. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said Tuesday this is the state's worst drought in decades. Donovan Mitchell scored 45 points to lead the Utah Jazz to a 112-109 victory over the Los Angeles Clippers in Game 1 of their Western Conference semifinal series. Mitchell did most of his work in the second half, scoring 32 points to rally the Jazz from a double-digit deficit. Jordan Clarkson and Bojan Bogdanovic chipped in 18 points apiece. Utah and L.A. will play Game 2 Thursday in Salt Lake City. KVNU News Time is 5:34.
UNI Furniture just acquired an entire showroom of furniture from the Las Vegas Furniture Market. Best Furniture, an American-made furniture company, delivered to UNI sectionals, sofas, recliners, lift chairs, accent chairs, ottomans, benches, and a whole lot more. These are one-time deals that will not be repeated, so shop early for the best selection. It really is just another reason that you'll always find a better buy at UNI Furniture. UNI Furniture, 28 West 1st North in downtown Logan.
KVNU weather tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight low in the lower 50s, south winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. Breezy conditions Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy, slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon. Quite a bit cooler, around 70 for the high, with winds gusting 15 to 25 miles per hour in the afternoon. Mostly clear, cold Thursday night, Friday morning, low in the mid-30s, and then upper 70s, sunny on Friday. It's been to 85. It's 83 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather is brought to you by Northern Steel Buildings. Work with their Cache Valley team to build a stronger, more durable, long-lasting structure for your needs. Visit northernsteelbuilding.com. Call 435-677-7300. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Monty Carlson from Hyde Park Dental. I have some very exciting news. Dr. Brad Bills and I are going to partner to help make Hyde Park Dental one of the premier dental practices in Cache Valley. Dr. Bills will bring his experience in many areas to Hyde Park Dental. He loves treating children and provides comfortable, pain-free dentistry to everybody. I'm thrilled to have Dr. Bills at Hyde Park Dental. I know you will come to love and appreciate him as I do.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Bills. I am as excited as Dr. Carlson to be joining forces. Like Dr. Carlson, I have practiced dentistry for over 30 years in the Valley and love helping my patients be healthy and have fantastic smiles. I also love being able to offer laser dentistry. Treatment with a laser is fast, pain-free, and often eliminates the need for a shot and no numb mouth. The excellent care you have received through Dr. Carlson and myself will continue with even more fantastic services and care. Call us today at Hyde Park Dental to schedule an appointment. Dr. Carlson and I are excited to see you.
Attention homeowners! You may have noticed the ground shift after your foundation has been poured, causing your house to sink or settle. Protect your investment from issues before they happen. Polylift Concrete Raising and Piering will stabilize, lift, and eliminate further settling by using Magnum Piering products to save you big money down the road. Polylift Concrete Raising and Piering are the foundation lifting experts. Visit poly-lift.com to schedule your free assessment or call or text 435-999-9309. Polylift is locally owned and operated.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru for Columbus Travel and Princess Cruises. Starting this July, Alaska Cruises are back. Sail with Princess and get free drinks, free Wi-Fi, free prepaid gratuities, and for a limited time, up to $200 onboard credit, which is like free money to spend on your Alaska cruise. Call Columbus Travel, 800-373-3328 or online at columbusvacations.com. Thanks, Columbus.
Better weather, longer days, and the urge to get outside. Spring has sprung. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical, and we'd love to help you scoot into spring and enjoy $200 off our high-quality scooters. Bringing wellness home is our motto, so also enjoy $200 off our best-selling lift chairs. For locations and information, visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
You want a business you can trust with a name you can trust to work on your vehicle. Think AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care in North Logan. They have the experience to get your vehicle in and out quickly, diagnosed and fixed right at the most affordable cost. AMCO, 75 East, 2000 North in North Logan. And hey, if you're a mechanic, AMCO is hiring. Come start your career for that same great national name and enjoy your new career. Apply today.
AA MCO.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Sometimes I zone out during the I get, looking at sometimes there'll be a lot happening as the show's playing out. And so
you're caught in the moment.
I get caught in the moment, and that's what's been happening here. So a little behind the scenes thing. Sometimes I think we should film this, but so the break ends. I hear that my brain doesn't register for some reason. The music starts, and then at a certain point, Bill has to quietly say, "This is you."
Hello.
Like it's my first day in the station.
Anybody there?
Yeah, every day is my first day. No, but what I've been focusing on here, this has been fascinating to watch play out. And I'm watching it play out on Twitter, so, I don't have full context on every comment made here. But Utah lawmakers, via a committee that tackles this very type of thing, have been discussing, along with water districts like the Cache Water Conservancy District, Washington County Water Conservancy District, and all others in between, long-term drought prevention measures. So this drought this summer, as the governor has said, worst drought in Utah since 1956 already. And I mentioned in hour one Lake Mead, where the Colorado River, which feeds much of the bottom half of the state of Utah and 6 other basin states, it's so low and has been low for 21 years. It's actually a 21-year drought in the basin area, based on the data. And it's so low that Lake Mead, kind of the final destination, at least for a lot of the water, is at capacity levels not seen since it was first filled in 1930. It's that low. And so, obviously this drought is going to be bad, but we've been in an ongoing, I guess maybe what you call a creeper drought. It's just been getting a little worse each year. This year is going to be one of the outliers where it got a lot worse for one season, and then maybe next year will be a bit wetter again. But if you look at the data trends, the drought has been going for 21 years now. And in the basin area, which is Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, California. You see where I'm going. Anyway, Utah lawmakers are taking this up. So this came when the news broke this afternoon. The Washington County Water Conservancy District has issued some new. In hour one, I said there were no new restrictions in the state of Utah today when it comes to water. Washington County Water Conservation District made me a liar by the end of that hour by announcing some restrictions, telling cities that supplies are going to start getting pretty tight, and that if the water use they're seeing in St. George especially isn't curbed, they're going to have no choice but to actually start shutting off water by the time we get to August in southern Utah. So that's a pretty serious thing. The water district for this Washington County, all the cities in Washington County, this is what they've asked for, basically. They've asked that an excess water surcharge start being applied. That will be $1 per 1,000 gallons on the county's highest water users. So basically looking to recoup some costs of mitigation efforts in other areas for those that are using the most water. The Conservancy District in Washington County also asking cities to audit their own facilities to cut water use by at least 10%, and they're giving them about a month to do that. Asking cities to start converting non-functional lawns to water-efficient landscapes and encouraging residents to do so through education and even incentive campaigns. Obviously, that's something that's going to take a long-term approach, so looking ahead there. And the Washington County Conservancy District has also asked cities to pass and enforce ordinances limiting or even banning grass in new development projects, commercial and residential, going forward. Outdoor watering will be restricted 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day from here on out in southern Utah. And asking cities and counties to explore eliminating water features and also to restrict them in any new developments here on out. So you see what's happening here. Some of this is in direct response to what's happening right now this summer. Some of it is in response to developing an ongoing plan with the acknowledgement, basically, that especially there in that Washington County area, St. George area, with an acknowledgement that this is unsustainable. With the water problems already existent, now consider the fact that, like Cache Valley, where there is more water in general and less desert-like climate most of the year, the population is expected to double in St. George as well in the next 40 years. So, I mean, how it just at a certain point it becomes impossible. And so this is a water conservancy district acknowledging that, saying we have to deal with the drought immediately upon us this summer, and there are ways we can do that. But we also need to start talking about some of these long-term solutions. And yes, the Washington County Water Conservancy District went there with golf courses. And this is the canary in the coal mine, if you want my opinion. Which, trust me on this one, because we've seen this before one other time about 10 years ago when things got pretty dry. This is the canary in the coal mine, and you'll see a lot of areas follow suit. But the Washington County Water Conservancy District about 45 minutes ago said they're limiting water budgets for golf courses, even, unfortunately, if this means golf courses have to shorten their season. That's just the way it has to be, they basically said. Meanwhile, behind all of this, Ben Winslow, Fox 13, providing some context as this is being tweeted out by water officials and legislators in southern Utah. He reminded us during the legislative session, the Utah legislature appropriated $100 million of federal aid money coming to the state through that American Rescue Plan passed in the earliest days of the Biden administration. They reserved $100 million of that for water conservation measures, including immediate infrastructure improvements. So an example of what that could go to, I mean, this is technically infrastructure, but if a city decided it was going to rip out all of its grass park strips and put something else there that didn't require watering, they could tap into this $100 million fund for something like that. Now, most likely it's going to go to emergency uses to do something to deal with our water supply this immediate summer, but we'll see. Lawmakers are also contemplating a lot of other measures. Some of the bills that have been thrown out there as potential discussions in special, interim, and even upcoming general session in January. So, again, some long-term drought-related policy here, not just dealing with this summer. Lawmakers are contemplating bills that, one example, consumer grade on, that include incentives for what's called xeriscaping, drought-friendly, zero-water lawns, things like that, and even possibly state policy on, quote, unnecessary grass in future developments. Now, that one gets a little tricky because what is unnecessary grass?
I almost think most grass is strictly unnecessary.
It's all ornamental, right?
Yeah.
So, maybe we'd call a park or a soccer field grass being necessary there, but, this is statewide policy that would actually make certain types of grass in all new developments unnecessary. And then there's another thing factoring in here that was passed during legislative session a year ago, maybe two, but now has just been tweaked a bit and will actually be in play in broader areas of the state. And this is the secondary water metering in Utah cities bill. This was started as a pilot in some areas, including Spanish Fork, where Representative Mike McKell, who sponsored the bill, is from. And he provided a report to lawmakers just this week saying that now this didn't change what anyone pays their city. This basically was metering of secondary water systems so that when a person got their bill from the city showing their culinary water usage, they would also now see their secondary water usage, the dirty water. And he said that what the city saw is that as soon as residents started seeing how much they were using out of that secondary water system to water lawns, plant boxes, trees, and more, they saw water use go down 35% without the city saying a thing. Not a single message to residents.
Wow.
But just residents knowing how much they were using, 35% reduction in secondary water use in the last year in Spanish Fork. So some of these ideas are going to be adopted. I don't know which ones. I hesitate to believe for a second that the Utah state legislature is going to get too heavy-handed when it comes to telling developers what to do. They don't like to do that. But their hand might be forced in this situation because you're dealing with finite resource, and a lack of water is going to more greatly hamper development than what was it called again? I'm trying to find this. Unnecessary grass restriction in Utah. I tried to look. I was curious, Bill, if something like unnecessary grass, a regulation on that was existent in any other state, and I couldn't find anything.
I've never heard that term until just this week, I think.
Yeah, I've never heard it either.
I didn't know it was anything that was on the books in any state.
And this is, again, for those just tuning in, this is an idea being, just discussed as a potential policy here in Utah. It would force developers to eliminate from new development projects only any, quote, unnecessary grass. Or I would guess this could be expanded to be anything that required watering. But now that gets difficult, too, because trees are actually great for our water tables and our general climate change solution. Nothing worse than a gigantic asphalt parking lot for contributing to the heat of an area. And yes, on a broad scale, heat of the planet. It reflects. Trees are great for that. Trees are also great for watersheds in many ways. Trees are great for stopping erosion, which is important to keeping a healthy ecology when it comes to watersheds and everything necessary in that realm. So, we're going to have to water some things, but maybe a lot less water involved with a, little drip sprinkler on a tree than watering, a big lawn at the entryway of some sort of gated community. So I see where they're going with this, but it's going to get interesting. Now, on top of all this, back to Lake Mead. Again, Lake Mead, according to Doug Hendricks, Deputy Public Affairs Director for the Bureau of Reclamation. They basically manage this man-made lake and hydro dam called Lake Mead. You may have heard of it. The Colorado River system basically ends there. Not totally, but for the most part. The entire Colorado River system, as I mentioned earlier, currently at 50% capacity. Lake Mead, which, by the way, hasn't been full since 2000, even though they've tried. There hasn't been enough water since 2000 to actually fill this lake. And that's Hoover Dam, Lake Mead, both currently down 36% in capacity. And according to that report from the Bureau of Reclamation, that is, two things on that. That is a water level so low it hasn't been seen since the 1930s, the year the lake was first filled. Took a while. So we're back to very first year of operation. But here's where things get even more interesting because this Lake Mead is a huge producer of hydroelectricity, but that's done with water pressure, the weight of the water. Sometime this week, Hendricks of the Bureau of Reclamation told Fox 13 News they'll be getting down to an elevation of 1,071 feet above mean sea level in Lake Mead. If that drops below 1,000, they can't generate electricity. There's not enough water weight to generate electricity. So they also shut down their hydroelectro production. It's still turning, but not fast enough, not hard enough. And then I didn't know this. They can't produce hydroelectric power under 1,000 feet of water above sea level. And they're at 1,071 at Lake Mead. And they have not been able to produce power at full capacity for more than 13 years due to lower water levels being pretty persistent. This is... So they're instituting a rolling pipe setup for loading and unloading boats into the lake because water levels are so low. And that's going to cost them about $12 million, but some recreation companies are helping out there, I guess, and the state has a Lake Mead Recreation Fund that will be ponying up about $5 million of that $12 million in taxpayer dollars to get boats into Lake Mead because recreation's a pretty important part of the economy there. But they're having to do it with a rolling pipe system, which they said if the lake drops another 16 feet, they won't be able to use even the rolling pipe system to load and unload boats. As I mentioned in Hour 1, a reservoir in California already saying, get your houseboats out of the water. If this drops any lower, your boat's going to be stuck there through the winter into next spring because we will not be able to physically get your boat out without risk to a lot of people's life and limb unless if the water levels keep dropping. So also some warnings about that. Lake Powell, certain boats currently restricted due to water levels from many areas they usually can go. And also some concern that they're down to, I think, 2 boat docks there for the larger boats out of 10 they usually have to load and unload due to low water levels. I mean, this is an ugly situation. But again, Lake Mead at levels not seen since the 1930s, low water levels there. And Utah lawmakers looking at all of this in a discussion today with the Washington County Conservancy District on new restrictions, the dire situation in the Colorado River system, and more. Utah lawmakers saying that in addition to dealing with this summer's immediate drought concerns, we've got to start looking at some long-term solutions to the fact that we actually live in a desert. And so we've just had the luxury of pretending that wasn't the case for a long time, to quote one lawmaker. 753-5868. We'll be back right after this.
This is Dr. Red, chiropractic physician with Red River Health and Wellness. Have you been suffering and you can't find any answers?
I actually suffer from depression and anxiety. I also have had severe IBS problems. I actually had gone into a different doctor of mine because I thought maybe I was starting to go through menopause and had problems sleeping and I wasn't resting well and just everything felt wrong.
Red River Health and Wellness can help.
I am now back at work. It's easy. I get through things effortlessly at work, and it's been a life-changing for me. I'm sleeping better at night. I have full energy all day. I don't have those slumps where I need a nap. It's been amazing. It's been a good journey for me.
Our goal is to teach you and educate you so you know how to manage your condition a lot more effectively and you know what to do and what not to do for the rest of your life.
Call Red River at 855-55-RIVER to schedule an in-depth consultation absolutely free. All appointments can be done remotely by FaceTime, Skype, or phone.
Here's Chad, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn.
Summer temps are here, the grass is seeding out, and the lawns have gotten stressed. With that being said, we'd like to introduce our new 2-service soil enrichment program to help increase the size and number of roots in your grass, which allows the plant to better use both the water and nutrients that are there, improving the health of the plant and helping the stress of this time of year.
Fertilizer, weed, and pest control. Call the lawn doctor at 753-LAWN or go to LawnDoctorCashValley.com.
Hey, it's Al Lewis. Happy spring. I love this beautiful weather, but if you struggle with CPAP, you may not be getting the sleep you need to go outside and enjoy it. Fortunately, now there's Inspire, a sleep apnea treatment that works inside your body with just the click of a remote. That's right, a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Learn more at InspireSleep.com. Inspire is not for everyone. Talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you. And review important safety information at InspireSleep.com.
Loveland Living Planet Aquarium takes us outside our everyday lives, into a world of discovery. It's a chance to explore our innate curiosity, discover animals from around the world, and experience the all-new outdoor plaza and eco. More to explore at Loveland Living Planet Aquarium. Reserve your visit at thelivingplanet.com.
Happy Father's Day from Birch Creek Golf Course. For Dad this Father's Day, choose Birch Creek. Punch passes, gift certificates, and range passes are on sale for Father's Day and can be purchased online at birchcreekgolf.com, with all purchases mailed to you for Father's Day. So for Dad this Father's Day, I invite you to choose birchcreekgolf.com or stop in the pro shop today. And happy Father's Day from your friends at Birch Creek Golf Course in Smithville.
That is our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. I wish we could start every hour or two of the show talking about bowling, but tomorrow it's the For the
It'd be
People.
the bowling hour.
That's right. Tomorrow, hour 2 starts with the For the People movie show. We're going to be talking about so much, including Dune. Yes, a new trailer. It's been bumped up a month. October now, not November. And summer movie season really starting to heat up. That's tomorrow on For the People in the For the People movie show. Dave Ramsey is next here on KVNU Logan.